Hey guys, I wanted to make sure that you had the best information for probably the most typical move that you see with a kettlebell, which is the two-handed kettlebell swing. And a lot of people get this exercise wrong, and I want to make sure that you have it covered, okay? The first thing you have to know about the swing is it is a hinge movement, not a squat movement. Okay, so when we're talking about kettlebell swings, we are pushing our butt back, then thrusting forward. Pushing the butt back, then thrusting it forward. There's gonna be a tiny little bit of leg bend in there, but this is gonna be predominantly for your hamstrings and your glutes. So it's like a very fast but short RDL or straight-ish leg deadlift, okay? So the first way to start learning that is if you can just go to a wall, maybe take 2 steps from that wall, okay? So get a foot distance from that wall, and then push your butt back to the wall, okay? So if you can act like that, pushing your butt just back to the wall so it touches with your back nice and straight, then that's a good start for that movement, okay? Now, talking about the kettlebell and the fact that it's going to be heavy. So I want you to look at my lightest kettlebell. Okay, this is 45 pounds, 44 pounds. Sorry, I got Mackenzie, my daughter, in the video. But I can barely, probably not lift that with my shoulders because this is not a shoulder exercise. This is for our legs, okay? This really has very little to do with your shoulders. If anything, it engages your lat, your arm muscles, the backs of your shoulders, but it is not a shoulder raise, okay? That's very important because all of the velocity and lift are going to come from your hips. Your arms are absolute kind of ropes dangling from your side, but not exactly because I do want them engaged. And I'm gonna show you how to engage your arms before we start, okay? If you go to a table or a bar of any sort and you put your hands on that table and you drop your shoulders down and back away from your ears, and then you try to pull with straight arms, you're essentially activating your lats there. So pull down and back and then pull on something. You can start activating this with bands as well. But that grip here, making sure that our arms aren't high and loose, that we've engaged our lats so that they're strong and able to handle and control this weight becomes very important. Now, in order to set up for this, I'm gonna take, again, maybe I'll take a 1 foot distance from my kettlebell, okay? I'm gonna wrap my hands on both sides or the corners, and then I'm going to get into this deep squat position. I'm gonna make sure that the kettlebell is out in front of me and that my hips are pushing back and away, okay? I'll show you this from the side as well. My hips are pushing back and away, okay? Once you're here, start with that lat activation again. Pull your shoulders down and back and tie your shoulder blades down to the back of your rib cage, okay? So that's how we want to start. So from a traditional swing, when we're using weights, we can get right into our swing like this. Since I'm about a foot's distance away, once I'm engaged, I can pick it up and the momentum of the kettlebell will bring it back to me, and then I can start thrusting it forward. Now notice the front of my shoulders, really aren't doing any work there, okay? And so I'm not raising it with my arms. My hips are doing the motion. So if you're just starting this and you're new, get the kettlebell right between your feet. Keep your back straight, keep your chest up, pick the kettlebell up. From here, lock your shoulder blades down and back so that they're tight to the back of your ribs. And then, without even throwing the kettlebell up, just start swaying until you get maybe to belly button distance, okay? This is just hips. Again, it is not down like this. My hips are hinging. Hinge, up, hinge, up. And the kettlebell starts naturally swinging on its own, okay? And then I can place it down safely. When we're just doing generic kettlebell swings, two-handed kettlebell swings, we're probably gonna try to thrust our hips at a velocity that allows that kettlebell to get up to maybe chin or shoulder height, okay? So if I take a look at this setup, I'm about a foot's distance behind. I get my back straight, I push my hips back, lock my lats, pull my shoulder blades down, then I bring it to me and I start hip hinging. And this fast hip throw means that at the top, look, I can let the weight go because my arms aren't doing anything, okay? They're just attached at the bottom, and I'm keeping the weight pretty close to me. I don't want the weight to get far like this. Don't extend your arms. Keep your shoulder blades tight and a little micro bend in your elbows so that you can do this right, and you don't want that bar to reach out, or you don't want the kettlebell to reach out far away from you, okay? So that's your kettlebell lesson there. Again, we're talking fast hip thrust movements, and then we're relaxed at the top. Don't relax your whole body. Make sure you keep tension in your core, but that's a great way to start. If you're just starting, again, stand over the kettlebell, place it directly between your feet, shoulders down and back, lats activated, lift it, and then just start with this. Just small hip thrusts. And then work your way up to getting a little bit more reach and a little bit more pop. And the places that should be tired are definitely not the front of your shoulders. If anything, you'll start noticing fatigue in the backs of your shoulders so that you're stabilizing and keeping that weight tight. All right, so that is your kettlebell swing lesson. Of course, once you master that, then you can start doing some really fun stuff, okay? You can start releasing it at the top, just for fun. You can move into one hand, but it's really important that you learn how to hold onto your lats and keep your back and lats activated before you move on to one arm swings. You have to control that, otherwise this weight's gonna go far away from you and potential for injury increases. I hope that helps. That's how to do kettlebell swings. Enjoy.